Hello and welcome to today's 5 with Fitz. I'm Keith Fitz-Gerald. Thanks for spending a few minutes of your valuable time with me. Hey, you know what? I've been telling you 3 things for weeks now. Number 1, bottoming is a process and there will not be an all clear sign. 2, the markets will be gone like a rocket if there's even a whiff of tariff certainty. And 3, to invest in optimism rather than cower in fear. Now, I hope you've paid attention and that you're still in the game. Why? Because the markets are up and early going after U.S. President Donald Trump has apparently softened his stance on tariffs and Chinese-related tariffs specifically. Now, this is Top Gun time. I feel the need for speed. The big enchilada is still on the table. Can the rally stick? There are obviously no guarantees, but I think the answer is increasingly tilting in favor of yes. Now, to be fair, I've been doing this a long time. That's why I suspect the markets will have 1 or 2 additional shocks ahead, particularly as China comes to the table. So it makes sense to prepare for that mentally and financially. What I want you to do is keep your buy list handy, and based on what we talk about constantly and all the stuff I talk about around the world at seminars where I speak, it ought to be a very short, very selective list at this point. Remember, the next generation of millionaires is being created right now, so it's important you do something about it. And frankly, I want you to be on that list. So here's my playbook. Why gray swans are different. I sat down for a wonderful discussion with my friend and colleague, the super sharp Scott the Cow Guy Shellady, so named for his colorful cow guy themed jackets. Now, some folks think he's being goofy, but in fact, there's some history here. Outlandish jackets helped top traders identify each other in the chaos of old school trading pits. And then you'd use hand signals from across the room to communicate your orders. Now, I miss those days, but that's a different story. Today's computers trading screens just aren't the same. Anyway, Scott and I had a wonderful extended discussion about what gray swans are and what they mean for your money. You can watch that elsewhere on my channel, but enjoy it. Think very carefully about what we said because this is important stuff. We're living through a gray swan moment at the moment. I guess that's repetitiously redundant, huh? Anyway, number 2 today, Musk got the message. There was only one message he needed to hear, and he got it. You know, as widely expected, as you and I have talked about, Tesla missed its numbers. No big surprise there. Also, as expected, the rally came this morning. Why is that? Because Uncle Elon heard what shareholders are saying. There was one message he needed to hear, and he got it. Get your butt back in the chair. Start doing what you do best. And of the other messages that are out there, you know, again, that's the most important. But, you know, call me crazy. I still think the stock is going to be 3 to 5x by the end of the decade. Perhaps a whole lot sooner if he really gets back in the driver's seat, pun absolutely intended. Robotics, AI, energy, all of those things could be worth more each than the entire company is now as a whole. I mean, that's a mind meld or brain bender, so think about it. Personally, I haven't sold a single share and in fact used the downturn to buy more. And I hope you did too. Grinning ear to ear this morning, by the way, is optional, but highly encouraged. Let's talk about number 3, Boeing's hat trick. Boeing posted a Q1 improvement, shrinking its loss from $355 million to just $31 million. Now that's good. If you're going to lose money, lose just $31 million. And it, of course, surprised Wall Street with a lighter cash burn too. That's also a good thing. But what I liked most was that plane deliveries are up nearly 60%. And CEO Kelly Ortberg, who was under fire initially and of whom I was harshly critical at the very beginning, says the company is seeking FAA approval to ramp 737 MAX output to 42 jets a month. Good on them. But now comes the tough part. This is a textbook case of watch the narrative, trade the fundamentals. Boeing may rally short term on production and revenue beats, but the long-term conviction and success depends on how well a company will navigate trade policy, safety, and internal culture rebuilds. Leaps calls to keep costs down and risk down may be the move here. So, might have to take a look at that. Meanwhile, I may just have to pass the bug in search of a windshield moniker to Meta or Google, both of which potentially stand to take multi-billion-dollar hits because of a drop in advertising from brands like Temu and Shein as tariffs bite. But that's a story for another time. Number 4, U.S. food stocks could go hungry, save one. The FDA just dropped a regulatory bomb. Petroleum-based dyes like red 40 and yellow number 5 are out by the end of 2026. I say good riddance and about bloody time. I've been a lifelong athlete, and good nutrition is critical to sustained high performance. So this really hits home for me and my family. It is very, very difficult to eat clean in this country with all the crap, and no, I will not mince words here, that has been stuffed into our bodies in the name of food science and higher profits. I've had it. Most of what passes for nutrition in the US these days is just chemistry in the box, and it has been that way for a long time. I think it's great that those chickens are coming home to roost, and I find it ironic that they're probably glow-in-the-dark versions now. Anyway, Pepsi, General Mills, and Kellogg are about to learn that reformulating isn't just going to be expensive, it's going to be brand poison. Consumers didn't bite when Trix tried to go natural in 2017, and they're not likely to nibble now unless Big Food learns how to reformulate to make clean actually taste good. And it can. If you go to Europe, if you go to Asia, there's lots of clean food on offer, and it tastes great. You don't have any of the allergic reaction, inflammation, the nonsense that comes with stuff in the U.S. food supply. Anyway, there's one company in all this that I never thought in a million years I'd recommend, but here it is. McCormick could stand to benefit. As a top supplier of natural colorings and flavor solutions, boy, that's a mouthful, it's already seeing rising demand. Now, McCormick isn't just reacting, they're leading the way. And I say that because the more Big Food scrambles, the more McCormick becomes a must-have partner. So Pear's trade idea in this instance, go long McCormick into the scramble and simultaneously short General Mills, Kellogg, or Pepsi, or maybe even all three. Every chef worth their salt, pun absolutely intended. Boy, I'm full of puns this morning. Every chef worth their salt knows that when flavor rules, margins do too. And finally, number 5, 3M beats. Should you buy it? It's a quintessential company, at least in America anyway. 3M beat expectations with a 10% jump in EPS, stronger margins, and $1.7 billion returned to shareholders. They're innovating too. Apparently, 62 new products launched in Q1, a 60% year-over-year increase, and that is not bad. This is a company that quietly powers daily life. Scotch tape to sticky notes to water-resistant sandpaper, which I personally use a lot of when I'm working on the motorcycles. But 3M has launched thousands of products over the past 109 years. Now, chances are you've got more than a few of them in your home, and I know we do. The question, though, as an investor is, should you buy 3M just because you use it? Well, here's my take, and it's controversial. Buy it if you like watching grass grow. There's nothing wrong with that if that's your deal, by the way. 3M is a great N+1 choice, making great products. It's a well-run company, but the great products are all better iterations of what's already out there for the most part. But it's low on the gee whiz meter. That's why I prioritize 0 to 1 choices with the potential to change the world. NVIDIA is a great example. And let's put this into context. NVIDIA's returned 61,271% over the past 20 years. Nothing against 3M, but the company turned in just 290.92% over the same time frame. Even the S&P 500 did better, by comparison, turning in 373.14%, according to Coifin, as I typed this morning. Again, stuff like this is hard to put into context because people, their eyeballs glaze over and that doesn't really matter to me. Yeah, it does matter. And let me tell you why. Because if you took just $1,000, and I mean just $1,000, every $1,000 invested in NVIDIA 20 years ago would be worth $613,710 today. Every $1,000 invested in the S&P 500 20 years ago would be worth $4,731 today. And the same $1,000 invested in 3M, just $3,909. So here's the deal. There is very clearly a role for steady Eddie stocks in your portfolio. Just don't make the mistake of thinking you'll have a runner on your hands if that's what the stock is known for. By the way, and just to really bring this point home, because I can't do this hard enough or forcefully enough or emphatically enough, history suggests there are 10 to 15 NVIDIAs out there right now. And if you've got a handle on this and you know which stocks to buy, that's excellent. Most investors don't. On the other hand, if you'd like some help finding them, you know where to find me. I'll be right here every single day. So today's bottom line, people have doubts about themselves, about the markets, about life. That's normal. However, it is also why I insist you make it a great day. You don't have a great day. You make it a great day. Don't let anybody or anything stop you. Not in life, and sure as hell not in the markets. You got this, I promise, and I'm right here with you every step of the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.